it's always set up to be a short period of time. So I do think we're going to probably change some laws that will allow us to have representation. I think that's what we all want, is representation.
Absolutely.
So that's what I'm going to go do, is try to represent you all. As far as other things, I'm going to try to work on the wireless program here to get internet throughout Simpson County, Warren County, Allen County. It's pretty good in Allen County, but
Allen County has the phone co-op that's pretty beneficial over
we
there.
we do. So the other two counties here, and any part of the state that we can get it in for sure, will be a portion of that. Right to Life bill that was rejected, or was the governor vetoed right at the end of the last year's session. I think that'll come up very quickly. And so I'd love to be a co-sponsor of that if I can.
With the supermajority, if he vetoes a bill such as that again, you would have the ability to override it.
Oh yeah, we had the ability to override it the last time, or they did, but he vetoed it in such a manner they never came back in. So they didn't have opportunity to override the veto. He strategically vetoed it in a manner that they couldn't come back in and readdress it, even though they had the votes.
I'm guessing that's not going to happen this time.
This time, we're not planning on that to happen. No. We're going to spend our 30 days up there, I think, come heck or high water. So probably no more than that, but we're going to try to make the best use of our 30 days in session. This is a short session. We've got to do a budget.
Yeah.
So lots of work to be done. I've already talks with people almost daily about what we can do and what we will do. They say, until January, you're doing a lot of pro bowl. But I said, well, that's what I ran for. So, but come January 5th, we'll gavel in, and then it will be officially in session. So again, I just want to say that I'm here, available, want to come over and kind of get involved and see what all your all's business was and see what I can do to help.
All right. Well, we're glad to have you here with us today. We're glad you're going to be representing us in Frankfort, and we know you'll do a good job.
Well, I'll go represent, and I'll try to represent the views and the values of the 22nd district here.
Do you know all the magistrates here?
I do, in a way. If they've been introduced, I don't know that I've talked to all of them, but I've seen them in different locations, different places.
Introduce yourself to them real quick. I mean,
I'm Marty Chandler.
Yeah.
East Magistrate.
Nathaniel Downing, West District Magistrate.
Okay.
Scott Poston, North District Magistrate.
All right.
Myron Turner, South District.
All right. Good to see you, meet y'all fellas, and
We've known each other for a while.
yeah, I know Sam here through his brother, through his
don't hold Sam against us.
through his good brother Ben. I'll say that since it's on the air out here.
He is a good brother.
He is.
Now, we're glad you're going to be representing us, and we look forward to working with you.
Well, thank y'all for giving me the opportunity to come over and address you, and like I say, I'm here for you, whatever I can do.
All right, thank you, Sean. All right, gentlemen, if you had the opportunity to review the minutes of our November 17th regular meeting, we just need a motion and a second to approve those minutes.
Motion made.
Got a motion by Scott, a second by Nate. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed?
I'm going to abstain because I was here.
Yeah, that brings up a good point. I'm glad to have you back here with us, Myron. Myron was a little under the weather at our last meeting, but he's kicking high today. So I think that motion carried, 4 ayes and 1 abstention. Next, if you had an opportunity to review, we would need a motion and a second to approve the first reading of fiscal year 2021 budget amendment number 5, ordinance number 220.221, and this is some grant money coming into the sheriff's office that's got to be amended into the budget. Motion by Myron.
Second.
Second by Nate. Any other question or discussion? All right, on the ordinance, we'd take a roll call vote.
Myron Turner,
Yes.
Nathaniel Downing,
Yes.
Marty Chandler,
Yes.
Scott Poston.
Yes.
Mason Barnes.
Yes. Next, gentlemen, if you had an opportunity to review on the portal the resolution number 2020-12-01 supporting Kentucky's transportation funding mechanism, we would need a motion and a second on that. And basically, and it's a good thing maybe Sean's here with us today, he might even be able to speak to this a little bit. because I know he's already digging into some of these items here. But most of you guys, if you remember at the conferences when we go to, you hear them talk all the time about the gas tax and the need for the gas tax. But the legislature, and this is where we're putting the pressure on you, Sean, the legislature, if y'all remember, always said they want to push it back to the local level. We need y'all's support, as though they were almost scared to do anything on their own. But knowing that the transportation funding kept coming down, as you see in this resolution, ours was down to 723,000 from 798,000 the year before. But there is a pre-filed bill, I believe it's bill number 826, that is pushing for this resolution to get through the legislative process and enact a gas tax to help with the funding of our road and infrastructure system. Because otherwise, the funding model that they're currently under, that 798 that went to 723 will probably be back in the 600s by this next fiscal year. So the question would be, does the fiscal court have a wish to authorize this resolution and authorize the judge to sign it and pass it on to the legislature and tell them to get busy? If you get, we'll get you at the microphone so people can hear that's listening.
So I was in an infrastructure meeting the other day, and we were talking about that, and so for every penny that you change the gas tax, which is a usage tax, in which people from all other states could participate in it if they're wearing our roads, and going through our state, for every penny that you increase it, it increases it $30 million. So they're talking about a possible 10% or 10 cent tax, which would raise $300 million. It's what, but we've got to decide where that is and where we're at. But with the pandemic and everything, and the fact that we've used a lot of less gas because we're traveling less, our monies are not coming in the way we would normally like to see them. Yeah. And on the flip side of that, I think the number was about a third or maybe even less of blacktop that's been laid in the state of Kentucky this year. And, that's just, you can't hardly stand still. When you're standing still, you're going backwards. Yeah. Got a lot of infrastructure, a lot of bridges, a lot of roads that need repaving, widening. It's a lot of work to be done, and if we lose a year, it's hard to take a gap year. Yeah. It shows up, especially if we have a bad winter and get a lot of potholes. So anyway, that's something we're going to be looking at for infrastructure purposes and trying to, I jump out here to say a little bit that gas tax is a little bit of a in reverse tax. When gas is lower, the tax is lower. When gas is higher, the tax is higher. I'd like to see if we could restructure that. I've talked to them a little bit about talking about restructuring that, because when gas is lower, you could actually get more tax, because it would hurt. When gas gets really high, it really hurts the person that has to get money in their tank to get to work, and it becomes such a stress on them. Yeah. And so I'd like to see if we could restructure that so that it's kind of more even across the board. But we definitely probably need to look at that as an infrastructure bill. Yeah. So we never want to raise taxes, but a usage tax for people that would use it even out of state would be more fair.
Yeah, I couldn't begin to say between the two interchanges in Simpson County how many people outside of Simpson County or even outside of the state of Kentucky get off those interchanges and fill up the gas. I don't know.
Correct.
All this resolution really does is sends a message to the legislature that the Simpson County Fiscal Court would be behind them in whatever they need to do to fix the funding for the state road system. And they're asking every local government to do this resolution. I have no idea how many will or how many won't.
But they're talking about doing a tax on even like commercial trucks and everything, the fuel, diesel fuel and gas, or just gas.
Marty, honestly, I can't answer that question. I don't know whether it will be just gasoline or whether it would be,
Because
I would think that it would probably be, I'm just thinking, I don't know, I'd have to find out about this. I would think it would probably be diesel fuel at filling stations, but maybe not farm fuel that's bought in bulk.
no, it wouldn't be farm fuel because there's no road tax on farm fuel.
Yeah.
But you take I'm just gonna throw Franklin Express, or you take a trucking company, you add a dime a gallon on to their expense.
Yeah.
That's a major hit on a business.
So I don't know, and Sean, do you
That's-
know whether or not it
I did not, it just said gas tax. I don't know whether that means fuel tax or gas tax or.
Yeah.
That, I mean, I'm just thinking, I know it would be, everybody would be out, but I would like to see something more on the commercial stuff that, uses, because, semis don't get nowhere near the gas mileage a car will. I'd like for that to be a different rate, that, on road fuel be a different rate than what it is on gasoline, a lower rate, because I'm telling you, there's already fuel surcharges and things of that nature going on in trucking industry.
Right.
I wouldn't want to do anything to really hurt that one industry.
And honestly, I can't answer that question. But I can't imagine, well, I'm sorry to say, I can't imagine the legislature allowing something to damage a bunch of businesses. Hopefully they wouldn't.
I'll sure speak for that if we get, an opportunity to look at it and see what structure could be made so it could be fair and not hurt, like you say, your businesses and stuff that are doing versus just your common person coming through here that's, gonna drive your interstates regardless.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
And
my.
I don't mind, and honestly, I guess we have the ability to table this discussion until our 15th meeting, because all they're really asking to have done is to have this in by January 1, so when they do drop the gavel on January 5th, they know how many local governments are supporting a move toward the gas tax.
I know we need the revenue from the gas tax. I just don't want to do something that's going to be real detrimental to one. I mean, when you look at this, even the school system, how much gallon fuel they use.
Well, I'm sure the school will be probably exempt from it.
Well,
I would imagine.
so, that's kind of, I don't know if they are, but I mean,
I would think all state-funded groups will be exempt from it. Typically, they are. I mean, any other?
If we can table this until we know exactly.
could you find out what that,
I mean, I can.
can you give us the information on
Yeah,
that?
I can try to find that out.
I'll work on getting you this information.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I honestly do not know the answer to that. But I do know that we can't continue to lose money year over year.
Oh, I agree. And when gas was, $3 or $4 or whatever it was, when it was real high, the gas tax, it had a limit on how much it could go up.
Yeah.
But it had no floor on how fast it could fall. So
Right.
it fell so quick
Yeah.
that it needed, and that's the reason we lost a lot of it.
That tax actually is put on like the wholesale. And I don't know all the ins and outs, but there's some situations to where we might not necessarily see that at the pump. That tax is put on like wholesale price. It's not actually what we see at the pump.
That could be so, but I think there would be some reflection at the pump.
It'll be reflected.
But what Marty's,
I'll have to dig into it. I talked to Wilson years ago about it kind of being an upside down tax, that the higher the gas went, the formula would make the taxes higher while gas was higher. And when gas got lower, the tax comes down and it follows gas prices.
Yeah, it does.
Somewhat, yeah.
yeah,
That is a good question, because in some of our conferences that we went through last year.
yeah, not
they
this
did
year.
voting, and they used the word gas.
Yeah,
They didn't use the word fuel, they used the word gas.
Yeah.
And just for everybody watching, so they know why we're discussing this, I've had people call me and say, I want my road paid because I pay property taxes. Well, your property taxes don't have anything to do with roads.
Right.
This gas tax is what is used for our roads and all that. So that's the reason it's a very important.
and it's well, we already seen the effect of the previous fiscal year to this fiscal year, what the revenue decrease was. And I mean, as y'all remember sitting in some of those sessions, it's a given. If they don't do something, that dollar is going to continue to decrease, which,
You know, even in a dime, I mean, the last class I went to, they were talking like statewide, it was like $900 million underfunded.
Underfunded, yes.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, here in a dime, we're gonna generate $300 million.
Yeah.
And that's, we're still behind.
Oh, yeah, we're still behind. We've got to figure out some ways to creatively get some money back into it, for sure.
All
Like
right.
I say, basically $1 billion underfunded, $900 million.
So we will table the discussion on the resolution until we find out for sure if it's going to be a pure gas-only tax or if it's a complete fuel tax. And we'll try to have that information by the 15th meeting. Next, gentlemen, if you had an opportunity to review these board appointments, I think we will take them board by board to make these appointments. So on the ambulance board, we would need a motion to reappoint Lee McBrayer to a 2-year term that would run through December 31st of 2022.
So moved.
Got a motion by Marty, a second by Scott. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, gentlemen, on the extension board, I would need a motion and a second to reappoint both David Carver and Catherine McCutcheon, both to 3-year terms that would expire on 12/31/2023.
So moved.
Got a motion by Nate, second by Scott. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next is the Planning and Zoning Board of Adjustments. I would need a motion and a second to reappoint Sally Starks to a 4-year term, which would run through 12/31 of 2024. Motion by Myron,
Second.
second by Nate. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Then the Planning and Zoning Commission, I would need a motion and a second to reappoint Gary Slager to a 4-year term, which would also run through 12/31 of 2024.
So moved.
Motion by Marty, second by Myron. Any question or discussion on that one? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. And then finally, on the Tax Appeals Board, I would need a motion and a second to appoint David Jernigan to a 3-year term, which would run through 12/31 of 2023.
So moved.
Motion by Scott, second by Nate. Any question or discussion on that one? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, next, gentlemen, we need to approve the authorization of advertising for the Simpson County Detention Center food service bid. I don't know if y'all recall, but Nicole could enlighten you if you don't recall, how in our last audit, we took a ding there because it was not bid. And so we just need the court to authorize to solicit bids for that service. Motion by Marty, second by Myron. Any question, discussion? Jailer, you have a word on it at all? All right, all in favor, aye? Aye. Aye, any opposed? Motion carries. All right, next is a request from the jail to enter into a contract with Jail Corps and authorize the judge to sign it. I'm not sure what Jail Corps is, but we have the jailer and Chad with us. They might talk about it. It's my understanding that the Jail Corps will not be replacing e-jail or jail tracker. And if you see in the contract here, the first year of service is no charge, but then it comes to $750. So we're just trying to understand what Jail Corps is and what the need is.
It's jail management. It's accountability, keeps up with their tracking. When they're, my deputies are checking on the cells, checking on inmates, throughout the day. It's just an accountability tool that we've used, and it will alert us, like if, we get sidetracked and maybe we're dealing with inmate A over here and we forget about inmate B, it will alert you need to go back and check on inmate B. So it's like a scanner.
So what would it do that e-jail or jail tracker does not do?
E-jail is the brains of the operation. That's the main jail management system for the county and everything. The jail corps is the accountability on the deputy side to make sure they're doing their jobs and they're doing it efficiently, correctly.
Are we
So,
using anything right now for that or not?
sir?
Are we using anything now for that?
Yeah, we're using jail corps. Actually, we were the pilot program for jail corps. Jail corps is based out of Nashville, and they pitched it to us. We customized it to the facility, and we've been using it for a while on their dime, helping them get it developed.
They were doing their beta testing thing.
Right.
But
And
now they're wanting a 3-year contract, correct? With
Yeah,
no charge for
we've
3
been
years?
riding it. We've been riding this for a minute. So, the prices that they're asking for, I think it's very reasonable. So, I mean, actually, this year is zero.
So that fee, a monthly fee or?
It's a year. It's by the year. Isn't it?
Yeah, it says annually.
Yeah,
It says
it's by the year.
in year 1 would be 0, but year 2 and year 3 would be $750 annually.
And you've been using it for
Yes, sir.
2 years?
Yes, sir. It's not micro. It's not I hate to say what I'm going to say, but it's not. I don't like to use the word micromanage, to make sure that every employee does their job by the state standards and, accountability. But
Does this thing generate a report of some kind?
yes, sir. It goes to e-jail. It all downloads into it, so we have records of who's doing what.
So, in other words, if something happened that an inmate were to get out, would we know who was the last person at that cell?
No. Here's you a good example.
Because I'm just trying to understand exactly what this does.
Here's you a good example. We had an incident over at the facility not too long ago. We had an inmate that tried to hang himself. We did a cell check, 5 minutes before it happened? 5 minutes before it happened. It's documented. So we're covered as a county. We did our job. If he would have succeeded, they couldn't turn around and come back and say, y'all were negligent. No, we got it right here. This is when he was checked. This is when it scanned into the system. Here's the camera validating what they're doing. So it covers us. That's what it's for, to make sure the deputies are doing their jobs and doing them correctly.
And you can prove it for future reference.
But that person could be, that deputy could be held responsible. I mean, you said accountability.
Accountability is covering the county, Myron. It's covering the jail, it's covering the deputies. It's a huge picture. And Sam could probably go into, more depth there, but when something happens and people become liable, it starts at the deputy, it comes to me, it hits the county.
They sue everybody. But I'm just saying, point is, it's a double-edged sword, obviously. If your deputies do what they're supposed to, you have verification, and you have proof that they did what they're supposed to, which will help. May not keep you from getting sued, but certainly give you plenty of ammunition to defend on something. Conversely, if something fell between the cracks, that's going to show too, and honestly, that's probably something, a family member or somebody, gets injured or killed, probably needs to know as well. And so the jail can take, corrective actions, that sort of thing. So it's kind of like I look at the body cameras for the police officers. I'm a big fan of body cameras because it really helps me a lot more than it hurts me on occasion. It's a good teaching mechanism for the police officers, the deputies, saying, I see what you did here, but the better practice is to do this. So I think this is kind of trying to make something idiot-proof as you can, and also the deputies know that if they don't do what they're supposed to, it's going to show up. So it helps give them incentive. Gee whiz, it's a long old third shift. I'm not so sure, that they know to do it.
It's a deputy management thing, too. I mean,
It's not so high.
And I was reading on here, on the termination part, or under paragraph G, their rights, because I'm not a big fan of signing contracts that doesn't give the county an out, but this one basically gives the county an out because it says they will suspend services if we just don't pay them.
most every contract we have at the jail period has an open-ended contract. It's an open-ended contract.
Well, this one says if you don't pay your annual renewal fee within 30 days, they'll terminate the service.
They'll come pick up their phones or whatever that is.
I mean, my point being, if we decide, hey, this ain't working, we just quit paying them.
It's working. Don't take it from us. I'm telling you.
Well, I know, but the judge makes a point. What's a good idea now, 5-10 years ago?
Right.
Yeah, I never looked into a contract that does give us a way out of it if they.
And technology changes every day. There may be something that comes out that's twice as good as what we got, but right now we have actually customized this one to our jail to help him develop get his business out there, but we're benefiting from it, and we're benefiting in a good way. It's working with our system. I'm not willing to give it up right now, so.
The gentleman to continue using it would take a motion in a second, one way or the other.
It's not gonna cost much for the first year.
I mean, it'd be $1,500 for the next 3 years.
Well, for the next 3 years, really, only.
That's what I say, $1,500 for the next 3 years.
So much.
Motion by Marty, second by Myron. Any other question or discussion?
Are we going to set like on a 3-year period, or is it just on?
Yeah, it'll be for a 3-year period, and either we would renew another period after that, or we would just cease payment and end the contract. Yeah, but it'll be a 3-year, it's 3 years, running from, get my glasses where I can see, January 1 of 21 through December 31 of 23. So the motion is to authorize the judge to sign the contract for the 3-year period. Any other question or discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Jailer.
Yes, sir.
Next, gentleman, under financial business, if you had an opportunity to review the bills and claims, we would need a motion and a second to approve those claims.
Motion made.
Motion by Nate. Second by Scott. Any question or discussion on the claims? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? And Nicole, still there are no cash or budget transfers, correct? All right. Moving on into reports, just a few things that I will share. Obviously this week, Bobby and his guys, and I think some of the city public works crews, is helping Kim Roberts with Renaissance to get everything kind of finalized. as far as decorating downtown for the small town Christmas that will kick off this weekend. And the big Christmas tree, I guess, will go up sometime this week. And they'll have the official lighting of the Christmas tree Saturday at 5:30. Be downtown right here on the square, 5:30. And then the following Saturday, the 12th, is the Kiwanis Drive-Through Christmas Parade. That'll be at the community park. And so, unlike most parades where the parade entrance parade through town and people gather all around to watch it, the parade entrance will be stationed throughout the park, and it'll be drive-through viewing that you drive through and see the displays. But that'll be the 12th. I believe it runs from 1 to 2:30 on Saturday the 12th. And then I don't know if Bob is out there, but Bob Palmer sent out an email yesterday that the Office of Emergency Management is working on the planning and scheduling of the first rounds of COVID vaccines that's coming to all the first responders here in Simpson County. So I'm not sure if there's a definite timeline on that. Sheriff, you may be able to talk to that. Thinking mid-late December, probably?
Yeah, we've had no information outside of.
Yeah, but Bob's working on getting all that scheduled. And no other reports on my end. Myron, you have anything?
Yeah, one thing, out in the South District, I think I got the roads correct, the Gallatin, Russellville Road, and Coomer Road. A number of residents on those two roads are very concerned about the commercial semi-truck traffic, which they're going east and west. I can't really say why they're on that road, but those roads are narrow, and those people living on those roads have asked me to look in about putting a no-through commercial truck traffic on those two roads. And so I'll bring that to court to see if it requires a vote. If it does, I'd like to make a motion that we do. Will it work? Have no idea. But those roads are narrow, and with the industrial park over there in the edge of Portland, Tennessee, there's a lot of traffic, I'm sure, that's coming from west they found a way to bypass Franklin and go through all the traffic. And those roads are very narrow. I've seen it myself, so I'm just asking if it requires a vote.
Sam, that's a question for you. But Myron asked me before the meeting, I said, I have no idea if we have to vote to...
Judge, I told Myron honestly that if you're looking to restrict access or limit access to vehicles on any of the county roads, I think the safe and better policy is to take a vote, and that way it has the force and effect and imprimatur of the fiscal court, the governing legislative body of the county. So just issue it in order. I think if you're going to do that, and if people don't do it in violation of it, if you say a sheriff's deputy, somebody pulls them over, or there's an accident, and they cite them for being on the road when there shouldn't be, you can't really do that without legislative action.
Do you have a question?
That's my district, and it's in my backyard. I think, this is my opinion, can you put some signs up, because what they're doing is they're coming off of the industrial park, and they're just taking the wrong road, because I've seen them out there when I'm putting out hay or whatever, and it's like, how do I get out of here? They just don't know which way to go. I don't know if it's that split at Coomer,
There is a sign on Witt Road and Lake Springs Road. There are direct.
Yeah, there's signs out there already.
I'm talking about that freeway split, when they're coming from east to west, that's where they get turned around. That's happening a lot.
But you know, if they stay on the state I'm convinced that some are finding an easier route going west. Or even whatever, because if not, then you've got to go through Franklin. If you live up that way, you know, it's a much easier route. But they do have, they're on the state highway if they're coming out of that part, they're on Wheat Road, you know. But that is a good point, you know, you've got that road there that's wide, that they could be misdirected there. But that would be, that signage there would be on Google Road, you know, there would be a sign there.
So Myron, you say you put in form of a motion to put the no through commercial truck traffic on Coomer and Russell Gallatin Road. Right. So we'd need a second to.
Second.
Myron, Nate made the second. Any other question or discussion?
Only comment I'm gonna make, I mean, I'll support it because it's in your district, but they're gonna be calling the sheriff or DOT or somebody. You know, we make these ordinances and, you know, no truck traffic to the speed limit or whatever, but if you don't have somebody to enforce it, it really doesn't do a lot of good to have it, so.
That's true, that holds true with a lot of things, you know, so, but we have to do something to try to encourage, those very, very narrow roads, whether it be in South District or wherever.
That's what I say, but that's my only, you know, I know you've talked to Jerry D about it, or, you know, or Will, and maybe he can help out in the beginning, and that'll help deter some of it. Because once those guys figure out that they can get a ticket or whatever, that word travels pretty fast.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
I mean, of course, you know, a lot of they gonna do is them,
Right.
last week, there's been some box lane coming down that road now. I'm confident he was lost. If you're on my road, you're lost. You're all down that road, you're
Getting lost happens to the best of us, Byron.
But, you know, I mean, but some of them are, I feel.
No, they're not lost. I get it, but I'm just saying it happens.
All right, so we got a motion by Myron, a second by Nate. No other question or discussion. All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carried. Myron, you have any other news? Scott, you have anything to share with us? Nate?
None at this moment.
Marty? Counselor?
Yes, this is goes in the category of honeydew. My wife is the director of the Goodnight Library, and today is their annual Christmas family fun night, sort of. Customarily, in the last several years, what they did was they'd have people come in, they'd have Santa there, they'd have crafts and food, and would bring in hundreds of kids and their families, and it's been a big, big success. This year, they're having to make some modifications, and so this year, they're going to do a drive-through. They're going to have Santa out in a carriage out back of the library, and so they're going to be handing out goodie bags, and so we've got some folks there to act as kind of security, because we're enforcing social distancing, and we want to keep Santa safe, we don't want him quarantined during Christmas Eve. So we've got him there, and so there's going to be drive-through.
There might be some states he's restricted to enter this year.
Well, I'll let the other states, hopefully Governor Beshear won't prohibit that. But anyway, I think it's a higher authority issue.
Sean, you do have to have a sense of humor to be involved in politics.
But they're going to be pulling through. It's basically 5 to 7. Want people to come through and enjoy, and it ought to be good. There'll be a goodie bag for each child. People will stay in their vehicles, and they'll get to drive through and see things, get a goodie bag, and wave at Santa. And so that's what's going on today at the library. She asked me, she's already posted on Facebook, she's asked me to mention it today in case the judge or the library member here neglected to do so.
And
I didn't neglect to do it, I didn't know about it.
But the reason that she's wanting to express it, we discussed this at the library board meeting, is because they're afraid that there'll be a traffic issue.
Yeah.
People trying to turn in, there'll be people trying to get there early. There's not, if you look from where the girl set the sign up, I'm thinking maybe 25 cars can get in there. And she's already had, I think she said it done been viewed like 700 or 800 times on the, so she's afraid that it's gonna be a lot of traffic there. So, but I know she's already contacted the city police to set up a, to help with traffic. And I think she's gonna try to fix it where they can't come from the north down and try to turn it, because if you do, you're gonna have people trying to turn in, it's gonna really block it up.
So basically, it's
she's
coming in
gonna-
from the south and going out.
Yeah, that's what, but that was her main concern, because I know she told me they started out thinking 300 bags would be enough, and they've already fixed 500, and when those are, the bags are good, and, they'll get them as long as they have them, but,
But recommend as many people can come tonight, and so, but anyway, she said she just could not bear, it's been such a great program for the community, she could not bear this canceling this year. So,
What time does it start?
5 o'clock, let's do 7. 7, Santa hops on a sleigh with a reindeer and heads back to the North Pole.
Very good. Sheriff, you have anything?
No report, sir.
Jailer, you have anything? Chief, do you see representation from the county clerk's office out in the hallway?
Don't think so.
All right.
No.
Do you have anything, Chief? Bill, you have anything with maintenance? Bobby, anything with the road department? All right. Sean, we appreciate you being with us today. We want to ask you to do one thing. Go back and tell Judge Harper how much better our court meetings are than his. All right, I'm just kidding. I said earlier, if you're going to get involved in politics, you better have a sense of humor or you're going to go down quick. All we need is a motion to adjourn.
Most adjourned.
Nate, Marty, all in favor, aye? Aye. All right. Everyone enjoy this good, cool day.
Oh, yeah, all righty.